All right. Okay, up until about 5 minutes or 6 minutes to 1, it was about 3 of us in here. And that is why I moved it into the living room. Because it was a holiday, it's a beautiful day, and there's a part of us that we know who's been coming for a while dealing with the Course in Miracles. It can bring up unconscious resistance, to say the least. So I thought the comment, I love when I'm wrong, by the way. Don't get me wrong, I love that I'm wrong. Because between the combination of the weather and the holiday and 5 minutes to 1, basically 3 people here, I came to the assumption that there wouldn't be a very large group here today. And that's one of those examples of what the Course in Miracles teaches about. Oh, okay, I hope that I'm wrong. I'm okay with that. That's fine. Thank you for coming. As a matter of fact, one of the main things I always like to do at the beginning of any class is to do the unthinkable. And the unthinkable for many people a lot of times is not to acknowledge somebody else, but to acknowledge themselves. Yeah. So let's acknowledge us. How about that? Yeah. And don't worry, if you don't like to be acknowledged, there are plenty of people who don't acknowledge you. So you're already successful at your desire not to be acknowledged. So those of you who don't want to acknowledge yourselves, then that's fine. That's great. There's a lot of cooperation in that area of your life. So we don't have to worry about that. And I also like to always start my classes off by getting myself in the mood. And so for me, that entails sharing some of the Course in Miracles workbook lessons. And just saying them until I kind of get myself in the groove of things, and kind of give us an opportunity to also come together and to appreciate each other. I think that, as usual, I would say that I feel like I have some of the juiciest, cutest people that ever come to spiritual classes that come here. Do you think that that's true? Yes. Do you think you're hot? Are you hot? Do you feel good about yourself? Yes. All right. Okay. Well, good. I do too. I'm loving myself more and more every day. That's right. So I'm gonna love myself a little bit because I'm grateful. I'm grateful. And this song is called One Love, and I'm going to play One Love while I share a little of the Course in Miracles workbook lessons. Now, those of you who are here for the first time, you're going to be in the presence of a guy being authentically himself. I hope you can take it, because I'm just going to be me. I'm not here to act out your expectations or anybody's expectations about what this is supposed to be about, how I'm supposed to be. I'm just going to be me. And I invite you to do the same thing. You don't have to believe anything I say today. You don't have to accept anything I say today. You don't have to welcome anything that I say today. Some of the things I say may be hard to believe for you. Some of them may be startling. It's okay. I'm not trying to convert you. I'm not trying to turn you into anything other than I'm going to let some things come through me. You use, if anything comes to you that resonates with you, that you can use, by all means do it. If there's anything that I say that you don't agree with or that you see a different way, that's absolutely, totally, beautifully fine, perfect with me. Is that cool if you're here for the first time? Okay, good, good. Here we go. I welcome all smiling faces. Do you know that everything you see, you give it all the meaning that it has for you? I give everything I see all the meaning that it has for me. And then go back a little bit more. And that was so good, I wanted to hear it a little bit. Come back through that part one more time. Do you know that you are never upset for the reason you think? I am never upset for the reason I think. I am never upset for the reason I think. I am never upset for the reason I think. I am never upset for the reason I think. I'd like to invite somebody to say it with me right now. I'd like to invite somebody to say it with me right now. I'd like to invite somebody to play with me and say it right now. I'd like to invite somebody to say it right now. I'm never upset for the reason I think. I'm never upset for the reason I think. I am never things differently. I am determined to see things differently. I am determined to see things differently. I am determined to see things differently and breathe. One love. Okay, I gotta remind myself, there's another way of looking at the world. There's another way of looking at the world. There's another way of looking at the world. There is another way of looking at the world. There is another way to look at the world. There is another way of looking at the world. There is another way of look. Now I want you to think about something that you're going through right now. Think about a situation that you know that's bothering you right now. Something you know that you're using to make yourself unhappy. Something that you're worried about, something that you're angry about, something that you're frustrated about. And I'd like for you to say to yourself silently or loud, there is another way of looking at this. 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 So one love, just one love, one love. One love is all we can share with each other if we're dealing with the truth. One love is the only thing that we have between us is one love, one love, one love. I just love holy music. I just love it. I love it when I be going out sometimes, you know, and I look out at the audience and I see some people like, where the hell am I? What happened? This is a cult. I know it's a cult. They having too good a time. It's got to be a cult. That's right. So I'm going to talk about the development of trust today. There are certain areas of the Course in Miracles that I go through over and over because they're what I consider to be key areas of the Course. In the Teacher's Manual, the development of trust on page 10, in the manual for teachers, the development of trust, page 10, in the Course in Miracles, the manual for teachers, the development of trust. So, how many of you would love to develop more trust? Wait, so do you see this as being a worthwhile section for us to cover today?
Yes.
Yeah, I know I need to. I need to trust. And I think that we all could trust a little bit more. Don't you agree?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be great. Okay, so here we go. First I'm going to go through the paragraph, then I'm going to go through the paragraph, then I'm going to go through the paragraph, and then I'm going to go through the paragraph. Okay, and the first thing that's going to happen when you develop trust, according to the Course, is that you're going to go through a period of undoing. You're going to go through a period of undoing. You're going to go through a period of undoing. When you say you're going to develop trust, you're going to go through a period of what kind of doing? Undoing. Okay, and this need not be painful. It should not, this doesn't necessarily have to hurt you. This doesn't have to be painful. But when you go through the period of undoing, you usually experience it as painful. So the Course says it doesn't need to be painful, but you're probably going to experience it as painful. You know, it doesn't need to be painful, but you'll probably experience the period of undoing as painful. And it says because it's going to look like things are being taken away. It may even look like people are being taken away. It may look like relationships are being taken away. So it might look like when you're going through the period of undoing that something is being taken away. So that's important to realize because it's rarely understood initially that their lack of value is merely being recognized. It's really being taken away because it's no longer valuable to you, but you don't realize it at first. That there's nothing that you lose according to the metaphysical spiritual truth that we study that is a true loss, even though it may look like a loss to you at the time. But what's happened is the lack of value is merely being recognized. And how can you perceive lack of value unless you're in a position where you must see things in a different light? So in order to develop trust, you have to learn how to see things a different way. Do you know that in order to develop trust, you have to learn how to see things in a different way? So now, probably you're not at the point at which you can make this internal shift to trust internally. You may not be at the point that you recognize that it's only leaving your life because it's no longer valuable to you. You may not recognize that internally. And so if you don't recognize it internally, then the divine plan will sometimes call for changes in what seems to be external circumstances. So it may look like you're going through some change in your external circumstances. When you have not gotten to the point that you can change on the inside, it may look like things start to change very rapidly on the outside. If you're not ready to make the change on the inside, it may look like things are changing very rapidly. Where? On the outside, externally. And the Course says then that there's one thing to recognize when you're developing trust, and it might look like some things are being taken away because you don't realize they're no longer valuable to you, and you're not willing to make the change internally. It may look like things start to change externally, and the way that you make it through that shift without losing your mind is to recognize that these changes are always helpful. That the changes that you're going through, these changes are always helpful. 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 When a teacher of God, which the Course defines as a teacher of love, a demonstrator of love, when the teacher of love has learned that much, learned what? These changes are always helpful, then that's when you go to the next stage. So you go to the second stage of developing trust when you stop thinking that the changes that you're going through are not to your benefit. You go to the second stage of developing trust when you recognize the changes that you're going through in your life, the ones you say to the universe, I'm ready to develop trust, that these changes are always helpful, even though at first it may look like there are things that are being taken away that you may experience some pain around because you don't realize they're not really valuable. And so therefore, it says that you need to be put in a position where you can see things another way, and you may not be at the point that you can change internally. So there will be changes on the external, and all the changes on the external will always be helpful. And when you start to realize whatever is going on in your life right now, the once you've made the decision for true happiness, it's all part of the plan for you to have that happiness. You don't go to the next step. You don't go to the next step. So the first thing a conscious being starts to do when changes are happening after they've given their life over to spirit, the higher power, the universe, whatever name you need for something greater than your own ego, then at that point, you're ready to go to the next stage. So I lost my job today. Great, that was helpful. Oh, I got a new job today. Oh, that was helpful. Looked like I got to file for bankruptcy. Oh, that's helpful. I don't have to. That's helpful. Whatever changes are going on. Oh, my goodness, I was trying to come to the class today. My car didn't start, and so I wasn't able to make it. That was helpful. Because that kept me from being at the intersection at the exact moment that person was going to run that red light that would have crashed into my car and killed me. In other words, once you become a person that's centered in your spiritual identity, and you really believe that the universe is based on love, and the universe is based on good, and you're being guided by that love, and you're being guided by that power, you stop thinking that anything that's happening in your life is not helpful. So that's why it's called a development of trust. So that's not saying that you feel that way right now. That's not saying that you feel that way right now. Readiness is not mastery. Just because we're hearing about how we will be when we finally have faith and love, that doesn't mean we're there right now. So if you compare yourself to what I'm saying, you may end up feeling more depressed because you know you're not like that. Okay, so you don't go to flight school and beat yourself up on the first day in flight school because you can't go out and make a solo flight just because the person told you you'd be flying one day. Okay, so just because we're being told what we'll be like when we're sane and loving and have faith, don't beat yourself up because you're not already sane and loving and faithful. Does that make sense to everybody? But the temptation is, as we hear this, to compare what we're hearing to what we're able to do, and then turn around and beat ourselves up and put ourselves down. Don't do that. It's because the mere fact that you're here and that you want to move in a direction of more trust and love, that's all that's really being required of you anyway. You've done your part if you want to move in the right direction. So taking out the psychic sledgehammer and beating the hell out of yourself does not improve your life. So the Course in Miracles teaches that the fearful, guilty mind has a tendency to think that punishment is correction. So people who are guilty and fearful just beat the hell out of themselves one way or another, punish themselves, put themselves down, hurt themselves, and they think somehow or another by being miserable and unhappy and punishing themselves all the time, then they're going to somehow at that point, they're going to somehow this is a human being. I think y'all seen them before. Everybody's like staring there like, oh, that's a human being walking. I'm going to stop everything I'm doing right now and just focus on her. Okay, we'll let the human being go out the door, so we won't act like we haven't ever seen one.
I'm sorry.
I've had people say, why don't you do your beautiful day, why don't you do your class outside? And I go, that's the worst suggestion you could have ever promised me. People will be looking at every single thing. There's a bee.
There's a
There's a leaf. It's like everything to distract ourselves. It's so funny because I've tried it before. Every single thing that a person can use to distract themselves happens when the truth is being shared with them. It's funny. We're so easily distracted when we're hearing something that will take us out of the state of unhappiness that we're in, because the part of us that wants to be unhappy doesn't want us to hear the way out. And so it's funny. Okay, so that first paragraph, what did it say? The first paragraph said that if you're going to develop trust, you're going to go through a period of undoing. It's going to look like things are being taken away. It's going to seem painful to you, probably, even though it should be anything other than painful to have something that has served its purpose leave your life. At first, you don't understand that the reason why this thing is no longer there is that it's no longer valuable to your peace. And you must be in a position now that you can see things another way. You may not be to the point you can entirely make an internal shift. If you're not at a point you can make an internal shift, then external situations and circumstances are going to start changing in your life. When those external situations and circumstances start to change, they're always helpful regardless of how you feel about it. They're always helpful regardless of how you feel about it. And he says that once you learn that the Spirit would never make a change in your life that wouldn't be helpful to you, and you believe that, then you're ready to go to the next step. Any questions, any comments about that paragraph? What it's teaching?
Can you repeat the last thing you said?
Yeah, the last thing I said was when you recognize that all the changes that you're going through in your life right now, Chris, are helpful, then you go to the next stage of undoing your pain and developing trust. So I want to invite each and every one of you, including myself, because I have the same issues that you have. I'd like to invite you to now declare that the changes that you're going through right now are helpful. That if there's any person or situation that's left your life, even if you're upset about it, it's helpful. That everything that's happening in your life, even the thing that you think is a disaster, is helpful. And if you were to start to say that, one of the side effects of it would be that you would feel better. Because the only reason why you don't feel good about what's happening in your life is you don't think it's for your benefit. If you thought it was for your benefit, you'd never be depressed. You know, somebody call you up and say, hey, look, I don't really want to. I've had that happen. Have you ever had a relationship breakup? Anybody in here? Is there anyone in here that's ever had a relationship that was hell and it ended? Or it just happened? Okay. That's why the Course in Miracles is a teaching that uses relationships as a tool for enlightenment. The Course in Miracles is especially geared for people who want to use relationship. Not just relationship to another person, but any relationship. A relationship to your finances, to God, to truth, anything. Because all we have is relationships. So the Course teaches us how to use all our relationships to wake us up and bring us joy, as opposed to, it says, the way we've used it, which is to delay ourselves and give ourselves pain, broken into by periods in which we go to picnics and stuff. Okay, so it's important for us to hear. It says it's through hearing it over and over again that you change your consciousness, and that's why I like to repeat stuff over and over and over again, because it's the repetition that changes our mind, not the analyzation. It's the repetition, it's hearing it. So anybody else, question, comment about that paragraph?
It's true. Yeah.
It's true. I video my classes and I send out to people on my mailing list, I send out links so that they can watch the class again. They click on the link, you can see the class again. And I can also let you know about any classes or workshops or something the classes council. So I'm gonna pass this around for those who haven't had a chance to sign the contact list and would like to. Would you mind passing this? Then this will give you an opportunity to hear what I'm saying over and over again, and I have 800 classes online on my website and on YouTube. So there are lots of opportunities to hear this over and over again, whether you're here or not. Okay, you said it was true. Anybody else got any thoughts? This is a good time to ask questions, especially if you're miserable and want to kill yourself and think your life is crap.
Well, I just want to make a comment. I think this is a good reminder because, like, I live my ego. It's like when I read this from the course perspective, it's talking about freedom, but from the ego's perspective, at least for me, it tells me, oh, I have to sacrifice and be deprived, and so then.
Well, did you show me where it said that in the paragraph?
No, I'm saying from the ego.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But the mere fact that you get to the point that the mere fact that you're saying that it's telling me that I've got to sacrifice and I'm going to be deprived, that should immediately be your clue that that's a lie.
Well, and that's why I'm saying that.
Yeah.
I'm glad. Yeah. I'm glad that the course.
Yes.
I'm glad for this reminder.
Yes.
That it isn't like that.
No.
Because the ego would have me believe it's all about sacrifice and being deprived.
And for those of you who are not familiar with the Course in Miracles terminology, when he says my ego, he's talking about the part of him that has fearful thoughts, that believes in the negativity and fear that the world teaches. That's just a term we call it the ego. It's the part of us that's bought into all the stuff that the world teaches us to make us feel afraid, suspicious, and not trusting, and on our own, and like things can't go in a way that brings us joy. I would gather some of you have that voice. That's always on the lookout for what's not going to work, what's going to go wrong, how you're going to fail. That's the Course calls that the separated mind, the part of us that thinks we're separate from our source. It's called the ego, easing good out, easing God out, EGO, easing God out, easing good out. And so you'll get to the point after you study the Course for a while that as soon as you tell yourself something that doesn't make you feel peace, you'll realize you're lying to yourself. But it doesn't mean you're not going to experience it, because you're going to always experience what you believe. So if you really believe that life sucks, then you will have a reality that reflects that back to you. You'll think it's true, and then you think a guy talking like me is talking a bunch of crap. Because your reality won't validate what I'm saying. Your reality is going to validate what you tell yourself. So if you tell yourself people are not trustworthy, you're going to always meet people who betray you and upset you. You know, if you say all men are no good, you're going to meet no good men. You say women are no good, you're going to meet no good women. Your perceptual reality will always validate your values and your beliefs. That's why you don't argue with another person about whatever it is they believe. Because in their world, that's true for them. So that's why they look at you like you're crazy, because if I'm afraid of people, then I don't trust people and I hate people, and therefore I always meet people who upset me all the time. Then when someone says people are totally loving and you can experience only joy, I'm going to think that's a bunch of crap, because my reality doesn't reflect that, but I don't realize that's reflecting what I believe. And so we come to these classes so that we can start affecting what we believe, so that we can get the new reality that we're reading about. That can only happen through repetition and study and attention. And that's why my classes are here. That's why I'm here, to help those who want to transform their beliefs, not the ones who want to defend the way that they're looking at things, even though it's not giving them what they want, which is funny to me. How people can be so miserable and then argue with you in defense of a perception that's bringing them no joy. And you see it all the time, you know. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the next paragraph. It says, now the teacher of love must go through a period of sorting out. So the first period is a period of undoing. The second period is a period of what? Sorting out. Now, this sorting out is always somewhat difficult. Sorting out is somewhat difficult because now you've learned that the changes in your life are always helpful. You finally learned that all the changes in your life are always helpful. Now you've got to decide all things on the basis of whether what you're doing is increasing the helpfulness toward you developing trust, or is hampering you being able to develop trust and love. So I've got to determine everything now on the basis of whether this is increasing helpfulness or decreasing helpfulness. And then he says, you're going to find that many, if not most of the things you valued before, were just hindering your ability to transfer what you've learned to new situations as they arise. That you learn that most of the things you've learned, they actually keep you from applying the truth to everything. For instance, the course teaches that you're the one that's giving everything you see all the meaning that it has for you. You're the one that's giving this class right now all the meaning that it has for you. You're the one that's giving what you're hearing right now all the meaning that it has for you, right? So, do you know that's true in every situation that you're in? That there is no situation that anybody else and anything outside of yourself is actually determining how you feel. Like when you say stuff like, you hurt my feelings, you make me mad, you make me jealous, you upset me, that is a lie. Nobody's upsetting you, nobody's making you mad, nobody's doing anything to you. You're giving meaning to what they're doing, and that meaning you're giving to what they're doing is determining how you're feeling about it. So the things I've learned in the world teach me that that's not true in every situation. That there are situations that somebody else is affecting how I feel, and it's not me that's affecting how I feel. That's an example of what I'm talking about. So we've learned that the truth isn't true in every situation. The truth is only true in certain situations. There's some situations where you're determining how I feel, and there's some situations that I'm determining how I feel. The truth is, I'm the one that's determining how I feel in every situation, because I'm the one that's giving it the meaning that it has for me. If someone does something and I decide that I'm not going to feel upset about that or not giving that any meaning, like for instance, I'm not going to give any meaning to what you think about me, you're going to ultimately learn that if you're ever going to be happy in this life, you've all got to develop the ability to stop caring about what other people think of you. There is no way you're going to be truly happy and always bowing to the opinions of other people who are not happy themselves. That's the funny part about it. Like in most cases, the people that we're most concerned about how they're going to feel about us are people who do not give themselves any joy anyway. It's like somebody who's never had a good relationship trying to tell you how you should do yours. Or the brokest person in town telling you what you should do with your money. And we see that all the time. The most unhappy person that you know who's miserable most of the time will be trying to tell you what you need to do for your happiness and telling you what you're doing wrong for your happiness, when really they're a better teacher for teaching you what you shouldn't do. There are some people that are just beautiful teachers to teach you what you should never do, how you should never think, and how you should never act. And you know that's the case because they're miserable. So they're really showing you, don't be like them. Don't think like them, don't look at things like them, and don't go in the same direction that they go in. But people miss their obvious abilities as a teacher. So kind of want to check in with the people that are happy and that are peaceful and that are giving. Kind of check into who seem to be peaceful regardless of what's going on in their physical life. Not the people who are peaceful just because it looks like things are going the way that they want it to go, but the people who are peaceful even though it looks like the world is falling down around their shoulders, and they're still able to maintain their center. That's the person you want to talk to, not the one that's happy just because they made up something about what they think should make them happy and it happened to happen that day. That's not real happiness. Then that's what most people call happiness. I made up a script for how this day should go. Everybody's doing what I think they should, so I'm having a very happy day. Right? And then the miserable people are always the ones who got a script of how people should treat them and what should be happening, and it didn't happen, so now they're depressed. Those are not people who know anything about true joy. Okay? So a person who knows something about true joy would be the person who it looks like the world is not doing anything that they wanted to do, but they're so centered within themselves that they're totally unaffected by what's going on because they know their happiness comes from within and it comes from them and not from anything or anybody else. We have to be taught how to do that because it doesn't come natural. That's why we have inner teachers, spiritual teachers, mentors, books there to get us to that point that we're not affected by the outer. And if you're not affected by the outer, the advantage of that is when you're not affected by the outer is that you can hear your inner guidance that is telling you exactly what to do in every situation. If you're in conflict, you can't hear your inner guidance according to the Course in Miracles. You cannot hear God. You cannot hear Spirit when you're in conflict. So let go of the idea that you're miserable and in conflict and you can hear your guidance clearly. That's why your peace has to be your first priority. So you can hear. Isn't that awesome? So it says that, generally speaking, people won't use the truth in every situation because they believe that they're going to lose or that they're sacrificed. In other words, I am free, but I don't want you to be free, because if you're free, you may do something with somebody else that's going to upset me. So I think if I let the truth happen with you, I'm going to lose. If I really free you, let you be, not try to control you, you might do something that I don't want you to do. And so therefore, I'm going to lose if I try to apply the truth to everyone in every situation. Do you follow that? So the Course says there's a part of us that doesn't want to apply the truth in every situation. There are situations I don't want to forgive. There's a situation where I want to hold my grievance. So it says we have a challenge applying the truth to everybody in every situation because we think we'll lose. And then it goes on to say it takes great learning, it takes great learning, it takes great learning, it takes great learning to understand that all things, all events, all encounters, all circumstances are helpful. All things, all events, all encounters, and all circumstances are helpful. You mean to tell me that me getting robbed on the way home from the club that night? That's where the mind goes immediately. It'll go to the most negative thing you can think of as an extreme example to say this is not true. If you used to go, you mean somebody get murdered? That's helpful? See, all those things are things that you say to yourself to keep from thinking another way, to keep from looking at just tricks that the mind plays to keep a person from really using the truth. If I go to the most extreme situation you can think of as an excuse not to use the truth. So it's trying to tell us that it happened. Whatever it was a fact. It happened. So since it happened, you got two choices. You can look at it in a way that depresses you and makes you feel miserable and takes you greater into fear, or you can learn how to look at it in a way that you can use it for learning, inspiration, and awakening. It's up to you. You got robbed in your perception. So you got two choices. You can look at it in a way that gives you some level of peace, which decreases the chances you'll be robbed again. Or you can look at it in a way that makes you afraid to go out at night. So you see, and that's always our choice. So then it goes on to say, it's only to the extent to which whatever the event, thing, or circumstance or encounters are helpful that any degree of reality should be accorded to them in this world of illusion. The word value can apply to nothing else. So from a Course in Miracles perspective, what's valuable is what's helpful in achieving your goal. What's not valuable is what's not helpful in achieving your goal. What's valuable is what helps you achieve your goal. What's not valuable is what does not help you achieve your goal. So I have the goal of having peaceful, loving relationships with people. So is it valuable to be in a relationship that there's constant disagreement, argument, projection, and blame? Okay, so if you're really a person that wants loving relationships, a relationship that's full of grievances and fear and anger, by definition, is not a valuable relationship, it's not helpful, it's not doing you any good. If your goal was to come to the class today because you wanted to reinforce the truth in yourself, and then that was really your goal, but you decided to do something else, well then, was there something else that you decided to do helpful? No, because it didn't help you achieve your goal, which was to come to the class. So you determine what's helpful by whether or not it's valuable in helping you achieve your goal. All right. He says the word value can apply to what? Nothing else. So I'm going to sort out everything in my life right now. I really want peace. I really want God. I really want to remember the truth. I really want to love myself more. I really want to let go of my guilt. I really want to let go of the idea that I'm separate from you. I want to let go of the idea that I am a victim. So would blaming you for what I'm going through be helpful? No. Seeing you as my enemy, would that be helpful? Looking at myself as being different from you and us not the same, would that be helpful? Wanting to attack you because you're not acting out my script, would that be helpful? No. So now I know what's valuable, and now I know what's not. But I wouldn't know that if I didn't have a goal. I wouldn't know that if I didn't have a purpose. If I'm just a person going through life saying, I hope the right relationship shows up. I hope the right job shows up. I hope the right relationship to God shows up. I'm just out here hoping. then I'm the person that it looks like things happen to that I did not ask for. So if you're a person that's walking around claiming that things are happening to you that you don't want to happen, you're also a person that has no idea what should happen because you have no true goal or purpose. So you need to get a purpose and a goal so that you'll be able to evaluate what's going on in your life. Because without a purpose, you can't evaluate situations. Without a goal, you can't evaluate what's going on. If I didn't have a goal to come to the church, I couldn't evaluate that something's gone wrong if I'm in Castle Rock. Okay? If I want a relationship that is loving and a relationship that is faithful and that is open-minded and that is honest, if I don't have that for a goal, then I allow myself to be in an abusive relationship. Because I won't have any way to judge how I should be treated. If you believe abundance is your natural state and you would like to have abundance in your life, then you cannot see being broke as helpful. So therefore you have no guilt about allowing yourself to have abundance. We got so much love coming at us that we don't really know what to do with it. We're so innocent and so loved, but we're taught that we're so guilty and not enough in a lot of ways that we can't even recognize the blessings that's in our life, all around us, all the time. Awesome. Okay, question, comment about that paragraph. First stage is what? The period of undoing. Second stage is sorting out. And what's valuable? What helps you reach a goal? What's going to help you move toward what it is you say you want? See how simple the truth is, but we want to make it complicated. The mind wants to make everything really, really, really complicated. It can't be this simple. Yes, it is. It is this simple. Okay. Any thoughts, any questions, any comments?
This goes hand in hand with an experience I had the other day on a walk, because I've been working on my abundance and accepting the love and abundance in my life. And what I realized that, like the Course says, nothing real or nothing unreal exists.
Nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists.
And so what I asked the question, what do I own? And the answer came back, my experience. And so on my walk, I realized I own the sky, I own the grass, I own that bird, I own these experiences of these things, and that's the true abundance, because it's not about possession, it's about experience. And this goes along with that, because that's valuable. The experience is valuable, not the possession or the thing.
Yeah, I love you own your experience of it. Yeah. And then the truth teaches that everything belongs to us. Everything belongs to all of us. So just leave it where it is because there's not enough closet space.
Yeah.
You know, so it makes more sense to just leave it where it is and then just go ahead and enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? That would be great. Thank you. Thank you, brother. Yeah, anybody else?
Earl, I have something about this wholehearted desire. I mean, that's if you have a goal. I mean, you have to be wholehearted about it. And I find when I do, all the yeah buts come up and kick my butt.
That's right.
It's all the beliefs of don't deserve, not good enough, you know, who am I, blah, 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 past pains. To then get through that and still stay the course, I still want this, then I find Spirit just moves me along. I'll literally find things if I want to help out some kid or whatever. I'll find a mountain bike in a trash dumpster. I did this last night. That's probably going to go to this kid that needs a bike. And I can't even imagine this stuff, that I happen to be at that apartment at that time to see this mountain bike. It needs a little tweaking because I have a goal that this kid needs a bicycle. But I had to get through the buts. So it's to stay wholehearted, to allow the buts to come up, and that's where most people give up. The false beliefs come up, to see their false beliefs, to move through them, to stay wholeheartedly with what you really want to do, and then the universe will just throw it at you. You just, thank you, thank you, thank you. And abundance will come not necessarily in money, but in the bike and the camping gear, whatever you need.
Whatever you need.
It's there.
Whatever you need. The only thing that blocks it is your belief. That's
exactly.
it.
That's it.
That's the only thing. Is blocking it. And so if you accept it as true that that's not going to happen, it won't, because the universe always says yes. Oh, that's not true. Yes. That is true. Yes. So you're the one that's determining every single thing that you experience and everything that happens to you, and that is good news. You don't want your life dependent on what I do. You want your happiness dependent on your perception, not mine. You know, I know we form relationships with people so that they can help us hide how we feel about ourselves. I'm clear about that. I know that's what we do. You know, I don't love myself the way I should. I have a lot of wounds that have not been healed. So I want to go and get in a relationship with you, and because you seem like you're all over me and you really appreciate me so much, I must be okay. So your job is to hide from me what I feel about myself. And since I don't have a relationship, then I'm exposed to the way I really feel about myself. And so I'm looking for one as fast as I can. You're supposed to hide me from me. And that's what we do. We go out to try to get somebody to hide us from ourselves. And so they can't do it because they also have their issues too, because that's why they were attracted to us. That's why they're attracted to you. They're just as screwed up as you are. So, or as weak. You know? So they at some point reveal that they have their own issues and they're not always able to make you feel good all the time and like you're as valuable as you needing them to make you feel. Then you feel disillusioned and you want to break the relationship up and find a new person to hide you from yourself. And of course the miracle says basically that's the game we play. You know, we enter relationships so because we don't love ourselves enough, and so we need somebody to make us feel valuable, to make us feel important, to make us feel cared about. And that's when we actually assign that role to them at an unconscious level. And nobody can do that. Nobody can do that. Nobody can make you love yourself. But they can witness back to you that you're lovable, but they can't be held responsible for the way you feel about yourself. So as soon as you start to love yourself, which is going to come from within, what does that mean? It means free yourself. When I said love yourself, I mean free yourself. Because it's in your freedom that your happiness lies. It's in your freedom that your happiness lies.
Yes.
It's in your freedom that your happiness lies.
Yes.
It's in your freedom that your happiness lies. And freedom is of the mind, it's not of the body. There's no such thing as freedom of the body. There's no such thing as freedom of the body. Because the body has limitations. So the body can't be free. It has limitations. It's the mind that has no limitations. It's the mind that's free. So the minute you free your mind of anger, guilt, grievances in the past, your mind will be free, and then your body can't help but be where your mind ultimately is. So you find that your body is in beautiful situations because your mind put it there, and your mind attracted it to it. So when I say freedom, I'm talking about freedom of your mind. That's why I'm saying to you, you're free. You got the right to choose what you believe, the direction you want to go in, what you're responsible for. I have no desire to control anybody in here. I have no desire to try to get anybody in here to follow what I'm saying. I'm not into that, because that would be the opposite of what I'm teaching. If you had to believe me, that would be the opposite of why I'm sitting up here, because then I would be a controlling person. But I shouldn't be in this position if I think you have to agree with me. But I also couldn't be in this position if I care. Because you have a right to your opinion. So I'm not going to spend 5 minutes trying to change it. Because I know you can make your own choices about what you want to buy or don't want to buy. You know, we might do it for entertainment from time to time. I might get in a conversation for entertainment from time to time where I talk to a person, we debate our beliefs back and forth. But it's just entertainment. It has nothing to do with me really caring. Because you're going to live your belief. So if you want to insist on that, good. I'm not going to live your belief. You're going to live it. So I don't have a problem with you continuing to believe. But why do you want to be so adamant about your beliefs when by your own admission, you're not happy? You don't have what you want in that area. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be right because I'm in a black body, then I can't have a successful life full of opportunity and freedom. And so I'm going to spend the rest of this time trying to show you all the reasons why black men can't make it in America. That's not going to help me. What's going to help me is thinking differently. To realize that I'm not limited by the color of my skin because my mind doesn't have a color. I can think whatever I want to think no matter what the color of my skin or my gender happens to be. That's what I want to focus in on. I'm not going to spend 30 minutes trying to convince you about the plight of what I'm going through as a black man. I'm not. Because I don't want to reinforce the idea that I'm limited and that I'm limited by the color of my skin. Because if I had that attitude, I wouldn't be sitting up here right now sharing this material, which I've been doing full time for 30 years, with people who are mostly in white bodies. If I was prejudiced, this wouldn't be happening. It's not like it's black folk feeding me right now, right? Right? So it's not about the color of the skin. It's about where your heart is. It's about the fact that I love you and want to love you. Those are the two states of mind I have with you. I either love you or want to. That's it. That's it. I don't care what color you are. I'm not just like I'm starving on the desert and I need water, and then a white person come up and I go, I'm not gonna drink this water because you're white. That's how stupid the whole racial, colors, gender stuff. It's just the stupidest thing in the world. But I've been that stupid. And how do I know I've been that stupid? I see it. It's in my perception. So therefore it must be in my consciousness. So I'm going to admit that I have racism in my consciousness because I see it, but I'm going to say to myself, it is not valuable because it's not helpful toward my goal of peace and harmony and love. So it's not valuable. Notice I didn't say it was bad or good. I said it wasn't valuable. So I've got to sort out whether or not that's a perspective that I want to keep or that's a perspective that's not going to allow me to get what I want to have. And then all the changes I've gone through as a black man were helpful. I wouldn't be sitting here in front of you right now had I not gone through the black experience. So yes, it was helpful, but I'm not going to use it as a limitation because I'm more than my body. I'm a spiritual being. I'm totally unlimited, but I learned a bunch of crap, and then I manifested it as the problems I think I have in my life, and I need a new way of thinking. Now I have it, and I'm joined with other people who want the same thing. The people who don't, they're not valuable. Doesn't mean that they're bad. They're just not valuable to me in terms of my goals. So the Ku Klux Klan ain't hanging out with. They're not valuable in terms of helping me feel like I'm cool. Right? But you don't hear me going like, I'm going to go out and kill all the Ku Klux Klan members. Right? Because they are me. They're an aspect of the consciousness that I'm a part of, the one mind that we all share. That's the truth. Amanda.
So there is one thing where you were saying the spiritual like sledgehammer. I found myself kind of doing that as this class went on. But that hit me. It's like this question arose: how do I get rid of the need to do that? And it's like, oh, it's not valuable.
I know. The Course in Miracles has one of my favorite lines. She says, "Simplicity is very difficult for twisted minds." I love that line. I've quoted it a zillion times in my classes because it is the truth. The more simple you make it to a mind that's full of complication and fear and guilt, then the more they don't get what you're saying. Because simplicity is difficult for minds in fear, minds that have been abused, people who haven't been loved. It's the hardest thing in the world is to reach a person that's full of fear. But you have to demonstrate to them. You don't reach them through what you say, you reach them through who you are. You know, people think it's about talking. It's not about talking. The teacher is a demonstrator. When I'm here, I'm trying to go past my fears, my insecurities, my shyness, just like the rest of you have. I don't let that stop me from sitting in front of you sharing what I'm being told by Spirit to share. Because my desire to do it is so strong, it pulls me past all the obstacles to me doing it. And that's how you get past any obstacle. Your desire for it will pull you past whatever the obstacle that comes up. So something that can stop you is not whatever you want beyond that you don't really want. So whatever your obstacle is that makes you stop when you say you want something, just go, I don't really want it. Because if I really wanted it, this obstacle couldn't stop me. If I really wanted it, I wouldn't let this stop me. And if I really wanted it, nothing could stop it from manifesting. That's really the kicker. To wholly desire is to create. If you totally desire something, 100% in your being, you're going to create it. But if you don't, you're going to have obstacles come up. And that only means you become afraid of what you want. The obstacle is only coming up because now you become afraid of the goal you set. And so you're trying to create something that stops you because you're afraid to get it. So if you say you want a relationship and it looks like obstacles are coming up from everywhere, you need to work on your fear of intimacy. If you say you want abundance and obstacles come up everywhere, you need to let go of that idea that somehow or another poverty is good. You got a fear of it. That's all. You're innocent, you're beautiful, you deserve it, you just have a fear of it. So those are the first two of developing the trust, and then we're going to go to the rest of them next week. Could you acknowledge yourself for hearing this much Holy Spirit? You awesome, awesome, awesome being. Lord have mercy. Good God. Yes. Yes, so we're going to do the financial expression of appreciation. I'm a full-time teacher of this. If you felt led to share with me because you feel like I gave you something that was valuable to you, it's not charity, then I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for sharing with me. Would you pass this back there, Chris?
Oh, yeah.
Y'all are awesome. If you want to change your mind, if you know you want to transform, if you know you have beliefs that you're tired of, if you have reached your limit, then join with me in changing your mind. Because I want to change mine too. But there's nothing that can be accomplished without attention and study. If you're not willing to put any attention or study into it, nothing's going to happen. And I do the best I can to create a loving, joyful experience of it. The last thing I want is a dull class. I don't like to go to them, and I don't like to be someone that creates them. So I teach, well, thank you. I teach based on, the people that like to have a little juice with them while they learn, please come to my class. And then those who just need really quiet, dead kind of energy, there's lots of classes that you can go to that will do, because some people are actually frightened by aliveness. It makes them feel uncomfortable. And that's okay. I don't want you to frighten yourself, because if you're frightened, you won't hear nothing I'm saying. If my style doesn't work for you, then by all means, don't come around me. Really, I think that's the most loving thing you can do. Okay, go somebody else. But if I resonate to you and we're on the same wavelength, then hey, let's join, because we're going to move at a lightning light pace. Because you're not spending most of the class doubting me. You're spending most of the class saying, let's see if we can do this together. I don't want to spend half my class trying to convince you that you should listen to me. That's a waste of both our time. Because there could be people that already are open and receptive to me that'll go, okay, I want to work with you, buddy. Let's do this. So those of you online, I'm available for one-on-one sessions. I'm willing to work with people on a one-on-one to get past their blocks, called a clarity session. Go to my website. It explains it specifically. And I will work with you. And because you don't have an original problem. It's nothing about your problem that's original. I'm sorry. You're not that special. There's nothing that you come up with that hasn't already been solved, because you're not the first person. Yeah. You're not the first person that's had the issue. Yeah. And that's not an issue you can come up with that the unlimited power of the universe cannot answer. It's already been answered. You just don't know it, because you're trying to make the answer up as you go along, using your own past experience, which you know isn't true because you're not happy. It's that simple. It's that simple. So go to my website, earlpurdy.com, and you can check it out. And then I work with people no matter where you are, on Skype or on the phone. And I love it, because everybody brings to me what needs to be healed in me. And everybody in your life is bringing to you what needs to be healed in you. So when you think you're helping somebody else who has a problem, but you don't, no, they're bringing to you what you're not aware of that you need to look at in yourself. That's why you keep attracting that kind of person over and over again. It's so obvious we miss it. Like, why am I attracting the same kind of guy over and over? Why am I attracting the same kind of guy? Because that's where you are. It's something in you that has a need for that. There's a part of you that for some reason you're getting some kind of payoff out of that, and you need to realize that it's not helpful. Not that you're bad, it's just not helpful. And you have the Holy Spirit, which is the voice for truth, the voice for God, your higher power, your inner guide, to teach you. We were not just dropped in the earth plane and then left to just figure it out as we go along. That is not the way the universe works. It is an intelligent, loving presence that's available to all of us. And it's just waiting for you to have a little bit of willingness to let go of your pain. And don't believe that your pain is serving some kind of a useful purpose. Don't ever say no pain, no gain. You're requesting the universe to give you some pain so you can gain. And if you have a lot of pain, then what you're complaining about because you think pain is a gain. So you ought to feel good about all the crap you're going through if you're a person that thinks no pain, no gain. Doesn't that make sense? If I'm saying I believe life has to be a struggle and no pain, no gain, then I should be thrilled about the challenges that I'm going through right now, not depressed about them. So if you're one of these people that go, no pain, no gain, no pain, no gain, and your life is full of pain, you'll be, yay! Whee! This is the greatest thing that could have happened to me. Because I love pain. I gotta have pain to have gain. No, it works like this. You don't ever have to go through any pain to learn any lesson that you need to learn spiritually. But if you choose to put yourself through pain by not listening to the truth, you'll still love so much that Spirit will take you where you are and use your pain as a lesson that allows you to wake up and grow. But you don't have to go through that in order to grow. You chose the pain, but Spirit loves you, so it'll take what you made and use that to wake you up. But don't tell yourself you got to go through a bunch of lousy relationships before you can have a good one. All you have to do is listen to the rules of right relationship, obey them, and the relationship will be wonderful. But let's say you don't love yourself, so therefore you're going to create a relationship. And I'm using relationship, and I'm not talking about just a romantic relationship. I'm talking about your relationship to anything in your life. So people think I'm always talking about romantic relationships. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about those in any relationship. People can have a hard relationship with their dog. You know what I'm saying? Or a great relationship with their dog. It's all neutral. It's how we look at it that determines how we're going to deal with it. So, I'm going to finish this up right now. You all are so cool. You know that. Be around people that tell you you're cool. Be around the ones that think that you are beautiful. And guess what? You don't even have to believe it. If it's true whether you believe it or not. That's the cool thing about what's true. It's true whether you believe it or not. It's true whether you believe it or not. Love and happiness. Yeah. Something that can make you do wrong, make you do right. Yeah. Those who can move. Wait a minute, something going on. Someone's on the phone, 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. Talking about how she can make it right. Yeah. Yeah. The first thing that you're gonna go through is a period of undoing. It doesn't have to be painful, but it looks like things are being taken away. You're just not valuable to you anymore. It's just not valuable to you anymore. You got to be in a position where you're looking at things differently. You may not be able to make the shift internally. So there may seem like there are things that are changing in your outer world. It may seem like things are changing in your outer world right now. It might seem like things are changing in your outer world. These changes are always helpful. Love and happiness. Do you want love and happiness game? Are you tired of that same old crap over and over again game? Are you willing to let go of everything that causes you fear? Are you willing to let go of your lack? Are you willing to let go of your fear? Are you willing to let go of your anger? Are you willing to let go of your guilt? Are you willing to let go of that old sorry programming so that you can have love and happiness? Are you ready for love and happiness? Are you ready? You are juicy and sweet and beautiful. You are juicy and sweet and I feel right. I am beautiful, sweet and juicy. Who can say it? I am beautiful and sweet and juicy. I am beautiful and sweet and juicy. So here's the last thought I want you to walk out with from today. All changes are helpful in my life. All changes are helpful in my life. What? All changes are helpful in my life. All changes are helpful in my life. There's nothing more powerful than the spoken word. There's nothing more powerful than the spoken word. So don't be so quiet. Those who don't mind putting some juice out there. Would you say, all changes are helpful in my life? All changes are helpful in my life. All changes are helpful is what helps me. What's valuable is what helps me. What's valuable is what's helpful. What's valuable is what's helpful. What's valuable? Hey, we walking together, talking together, saying together. I love it. I love y'all. Thanks for coming out, playing with me, and hearing some truth. Hugs are available. I love you so much. Have a wonderful Memorial Day. Quick announcement from Sheila.
Thank you. We just have the movie at Ida Liz starting at 2:30.
And what's the name of the movie?
All of Me.
All of Me. It's a metaphysical, new thought, higher consciousness movie. It's 1617 Vine, right around the corner, movie theater in the house, lounge chairs, higher consciousness movie.
Enter the alley between race and
And enter the alley between race and Vine. Sign on the door. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You all are great. Give it up to you one more time.